Stories from the Tabernacle by May Moore. Stage directions for Daniel and the King. The story of Daniel starts by showing the figure of the king. So I just chose a wooden figure and I made a little purple felt cape to identify him as the king. So it starts with a brown felt underlay, and here's the audience. This is from the perspective of the storyteller. And to show that he's the king and he's sort of set high above people, I just took a block so that I could physically set the king a little bit higher up than the other figures. And then the king's going to face the audience. So the story starts with the king up on a block. And then we introduce the figure of Daniel. I chose this wooden figure to be Daniel. And Daniel is one of the people of God. And so he lives in Babylon. And he has a house. So I just cut a square of felt. I made it blue, and we're going to put his house over here. So when Daniel goes to his house and prays, I just place him on the felt and say he's sort of looking toward the city of Jerusalem, which can be off where the audience is. And his house will stay there, and when we say Daniel works for the king, we'll put Daniel back by the king to show that he works for him and he's lower down. So it kind of shows that he is working for the king. And then when the king makes a new law, I just printed out the words on a little piece of paper and made it into a scroll, so it looks sort of official. So you just read it from the scroll like this, and then fold it back up. All right, and that's the king's law that no one's going to pray except to the king. And Daniel goes back to the house, and then he prays, still looking out the window toward Jerusalem. And then people are angry that he's breaking the law. And the king doesn't want to do it, but he sends Daniel to the lions. Now, for several years, I made a tomb out of Play-Doh. And it cracked a lot and was really hard. It was sort of fragile. So we ended up springing for a nice, officially made tomb here. And I'm going to use it in all of these stories in Lent because the tomb is going to be kind of the central focus here. And in this story, in the story of Daniel, it's the lion's den. So we'll start, the tomb is open. And then we say that Daniel was put in the cave with hungry lions. So we'll put him in the cave. And then we'll shut the door. And then king's lying down at night, but he's worried. So we'll just put the king lying down. And then in the morning, he runs to the cave, and he discovers that Daniel is fine. So Daniel comes out of the tomb, and they can see that he's fine. And then there's another official scroll. Just use another piece of paper like that, unroll it, and read the new decree that everyone will obey Daniel's God from this point on. And then the story ends, the tomb is open, and we're going to bring another little block out so that we can see at the end that the king is up on a block and that he's also placed Daniel up on a block too, so that they're right next to each other at the same height at the end.